Thanks for staying with us. We're still looking at the responsibilities of the sub-nationals in national development. And just before the break, we were with Professor Ken Ife. We still have the matter of human capital development. But just before then, let me quickly remind you that in this segment, the phone lines will be open shortly. The numbers to call will be on your screen. You can take advantage of those and call in. And as we do every Tuesday, we remind you that if you're calling in and your call gets through to the studio, do us a favor, turn down the volume of your TV set. This is so to avoid the hurlback or the echo. And we also encourage you to go straight to the point, keep it short and simple, and not to worry too much about the greetings. Just restrict it to a simple hello. That would do. Thank you, and keep those calls coming through. And let's return briefly to you, Professor Ken Ife. Yeah. The question of human capital.
Yes. Let's look at health. Yeah. And I mean, it's an open secret how much billions of dollars we spend on health tourism. And the consequence, I mean, people have already mentioned many, many years ago, the Saudi family were coming here to for hospital treatments and many others. And now we are the ones going out, and it's all to do with the quality of our health service. Then there's the educational side. If you think it's not good to go abroad, you call it Japan, whatever you call them, why do you not worry about the $26 billion that are repatriated here by diaspora? So there is value in whatever they are bringing in here from their education. Right. But the fact of the matter is that we don't have an education system that actually talks to the labor requirement, the labor force requirement of the current employers. So we have a mismatch there, that what we churn out from school are not relevant to what the employers need, and we would actually not doing even work-based learning, where the employers take part in the educational curriculum, and which in some cases could even be apprenticeship schemes and all kinds of things. So in that way, we begin to orient our population to the kind of jobs, opportunities that are currently available in the country. But there are also the capability, because of technological development, that you can train, example, in digital literacy, and then you are able to offer your services from here to overseas countries and still earn money. And you have outsourcing. Okay. India is doing very well on that. Right. So there are skill sets that will allow us to earn dollars while we are in Nigeria.
Right, but the question here is, these initiatives and policies, must they be the exclusive preserve of the federal government?
Oh no. Look, how many universities we have? We have, I think, about 300 universities now. We have more private universities than state governments. We have more private universities than federal government. And then if you come to secondary education and primary education, for goodness sake, the situation would have been worse if the voluntary sector are not taking part in provision of education. The churches, the voluntary organizations that have so many, there's no way state government or federal government put together can deal with the educational need of our, and they can't even deliver the quality. Okay. Look at Covenant University. Look at some of the best universities now. They are private universities.
Okay, the lines are open. We have our first caller tonight, Umar Nladi, calling in from Borno. Hello. Oh, well, okay. We can't have Umar now. I think we lost that call, but we have another caller, Mohammed from Kaduna. Mohammed, hello. Mohammed from Kaduna, hello. Okay. If we can't get that call through, we'll just have to move on. And let's go over to Lagos Center, where Dr. Tunji Abayomi is. And Dr. Abayomi, well, you've seen the trend of the discussion. You followed the trend of the discussion here. And again, the question is, in all of these initiatives that the gentlemen here have spoken about and the policies as how they affect development generally, what roles are expected of the states, and must it all be down to the center?
naturally, it couldn't be just all for the center. We have a federal system of government which gives a lot of power and authority to the states. But that is complicated by what my colleague mentioned. And this is with regard to the allocation of items. I think not less than 68 items are committed to federal government. All of this enforced by the military constitution that we have. What I'm in essence saying is that the constitution has given states possibility for irresponsible behavior in terms of their duty to the peoples. Because as it is now, they give excuses, unwarranted excuses, in terms of development responsibility. If you look at the issues that build a nation, you talk of food security, agriculture, that's with the federal government largely. You talk of the legal sector, government sector, commercial sector such as banking and etc., social sector, health, education. These are all matters that, some part of it is given to the state, but the problem is they don't have full authority. So, in my view, the problem of our nation, I don't want us to look at, because NTA is doing a very important job, and it cannot do more. And we are grateful to NTA in the sense that, again, and especially on this Tuesday Night Live, you develop serious conversations in order that this nation may have a new lease of life. I mean, a nation where our best citizens, the youth, Plato said the time for best effort is when we are young. You're generating conversation to build a nation where our young people will use their talent, their energy, their capacity to build their nation instead of running out of the nation. Yes, we are grateful. But with due respect, I'm perplexed that in spite of all your effort and the effort of my colleagues, the elite, who are facing this challenge of this nation with, sadness, that we have a National Assembly and the states of assemblies who are pretending as if everything is all right. The truth is, whether you're talking of the states, the governments of the states, the several states, the assemblies of the states, the truth is, things are not all right in Nigeria. When you have a nation that cannot feed its own citizens, when citizens are hungry in a nation, the people cannot pretend as if, the leaders cannot pretend as if they are deaf. That's the truth. So, the states and the federal government need to come, emergency conversation on how to redeem Nigeria. Nigeria is in trouble, and we need to do something urgently about it. Look, this nation has greatness, hope, possibility, and it's still there, inchoate. But it has to be brought up. It has to be dug up. It has to be brought up. That's what the duty of the state governments and the duty of the governments of the several states, the duty of the federal government and the duty of, that's why they are elected to labor for the people, not for themselves.
Back to the phones now. We have Emmanuel who's calling in from Zaria. Hello. Hello, Emmanuel from Zaria. Are you there?
Good evening,
Yes.
Christopher,
Good evening.
and the guests around you.
Good
I'm
evening.
one of your fans. I have been watching your program for the past 10 years. And intelligent people come on your show. They talk so well, give beautiful advice to the government, and nothing is still working. Look at the cream of people around you there now. Look at the way that prof is talking. Look at the way the man in Lagos is talking. Look at the way that deputy governor is talking. These are beautiful ideas that can make this country go forward. But nobody is taking to the advice. Next week, Tuesday, I will still be watching you. You come with some beautiful ideas. We keep talking and talking. When are we going to implement all these advice, suggestion that they are giving to this country or the government? That's my contribution, because I'm interested in everything that they are saying, and it is the solution to our problem. I'm in Zaria, so I'm close to some of these things that are happening. So please, since Soba is in your hands, look for a way to pass it across so that we can be free from our problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emmanuel from Zaria. Well, back to the studios. Honorable Farouk Aliyu Adamu. This is where the nation has found itself. And as the various administrations strive to find a way out of the numerous challenges, again, Nigerians ask the question that why is it always that the focus is at the center? And people have said, let's have a devolution of power so that the sub-nationals will have more powers. Is this a constraint of the Constitution? Attempts have been made to amend the Constitution, but you, more than anyone else here, would tell us just how far those attempts have gone, even from your days in the National Assembly. And so what is the problem here?
Well, I guess the problem is all of us, but still. Yes, attempts have been made to change the Constitution or to amend, but in most cases, we, the political elite, bring selfish things into it. So you find out that the main things to be done are not done, so sadly, and that's why the people now need to push, because look, we have a country, we have a system. No matter how bad this system is, that's what we have. So that's why when we even are going to talk about conversation, yes, we need to converse, but that will be outside the Constitution. We have members of National Assembly. We probably have to, from our different homes or states, start talking to our members. Then look, let there be one point agenda. Forget about all these things you're talking about. Forget about the cars you're buying for yourselves. Look, we need you to discuss this country, the security situation of the country. Whether you need to amend the Constitution to bring in the state police or the local government police, you need to do that. Because if you do not secure the country, you cannot have any meaningful development. So the non-members of National Assembly, we probably, the Nigerians, should force them. Then look, forget about all these other things. We need to secure our country. So start devolution of powers. But before you do that, the Constitution has to be amended. So if all of us agree, but if we don't, it will continue to be going in a cycle. We'll just like what Emmanuel said, you will call people on Tuesdays, we'll sit and talk and drink water and leave. The next Tuesday, other people will come and talk and leave. While the people in the country are suffering, the nation is suffering, nobody is enjoying. Back to what I said earlier. Now, in Nigeria today, we have a vehicle plant called Innocent. I was made to understand only the members of the armed forces in this country are using Innocent vehicles. Why couldn't Mr. President, from tomorrow, buy Innocent vehicle? Why don't we start from there? Why don't we start from patronizing what is made in Nigeria? Look, we have to come back to the basics. As long as we don't do that, dollar will still go to 2,000, naira will 2,500. If we don't stop all these luxuries items, if we don't love ourselves. And loving ourselves is to make sure, look, what if you go to India now, you find this keke napep, you find the Tata vehicles, that's what they use. Because that's the only thing they can do. In Nigeria today, only Innocent can produce vehicles. For goodness sake, members of the National Assembly, why are you buying Prado? Why don't you buy Innocent vehicles? So that Innocent can improve, buy more equipment, so his cars will be like any other car in the world. Why can, I still come back to the sisters that buy wig. $500 million invested in buying wigs. So if nobody in Aba can produce wigs for our women, too bad. The government should ban all those items. You can't bring in anything anything that we can do. We have to make do with it. If we cannot do it, we have to start learning. But as long as the government will not put it, that's why I say leadership by example. Tinubu has a lot of role to play. Let Tinubu make sacrifice. Start patronizing Made in Nigeria. And then also talking to the governors. I don't agree with the Obasanjo way, where Obasanjo will muster and cajole or go outside the constitution. President Tinubu, who is a politician, should try to talk to the governors. Tell them that we have responsibility. We have to lead by example. Our people need to see us leading by example. Our people need to know that, look, what stops like states, commissioner of finance, coming up with, the state has 10 billion naira this month. We have spent this money on so items, so that the people will know what the monies are used for. Then we can start asking questions. But if also the citizens also hail thieves, you are a government official or a member of National Assembly or State Assembly, you had a bicycle before, now you have retinue of cars, retinue of houses, and nobody asks questions, and so on. And you still blame the elites. So that's why I say all of us are to blame. If the people cannot start holding us, the elites, accountable, where did you get this? Or why? And so on and so forth. And if probably the agencies like EFCC, ICPC, go after us, the elites, or people that seem to have taken the resources, to bring the money back. Stop even prosecution. If they don't bring the money, then you prosecute them. I am sure there are enough resources, among politicians, in the hands of former ministers, former governors, former this, former that can manage the affairs of this country. So we have to start. You see, in other countries, when people steal money, they put the money in the country. You see it through either farming, industries, and so on. In Thailand, we've seen that. But in Nigeria, our elites are so wicked. You steal the money, you take the money abroad, you don't use it, and nobody uses it. So look, we need to start asking ourselves. The masses need to start asking questions, so that if you see any man coming with money into your, you can collect, but then ask him. Prick the conscience of the elites of this country.
All right. Let's get back to the phones. We have Ada calling in from Jos. Hello. Hello, Ada from Jos. Are you still with us?
Yes, hello, Ada.
All right, go ahead,
Calling
please.
from Jos Plateau State.
Go ahead.
Your guests have said it all, I don't know, the problem we have is that we're not ready to even do the right thing, especially the National Assembly. Well, the last time I checked, 8.4 million Nigerians living in extreme poverty. That is from Ministry of Agriculture. Now, the latest one I checked was court orders FG to fix prices of food within 7 days. It's laughable for a court in Nigeria to order FG to fix prices. This is a tall order. Court should rather order FG to fix the fundamentals that has caused food insecurity, which your guests have discussed in details there. They should have, that is the issue. And the major one is this idea of not decentralizing the police. Let us decentralize the police. Let us have a state police, so that the state governors will be chief security officers and not chief logistics officers. That's what they are now. Most crimes are local. Until we have security getting right to the local government areas, we're not going to achieve anything. We'll just be bitch about the bush. And it is this insecurity that is leading to food insecurity. Because farmers cannot go to the farm, as your guests have mentioned there. Then cattle, if it's possible to have a ban open grazing and then, take money, have, ranches and let the people, those in that field, ranch their cattle and then they pay tax to the center. That will help too, because most times some of the crops are even destroyed by cattle. Or all these are problems, these are fundamental problems. We don't want to, patronize what we use. The last time when the National Assembly invited the CDS governor, he told them to the face that we spent over 40 billion in the last 10 years on medical tourism and educational tourism. Who are the people? Is it me? It's not the poor masses. It's them, the people there. So they don't want to do the right thing. So if they don't want to do the right thing, the way we are going, it will just collapse over our heads. Look at that, even the Dangote refinery. He cannot get enough food. He has to source crude now in the international market. Isn't that ridiculous? Because of oil theft. Who are the people stealing the oil? He's stealing them. So what the hell are we going? Because an angry man is a hungry man. I don't have respect for law, authority, or even humanity. That's what is going on now. So if they think they are safe, they are not safe with those vehicles they bought. The members of the National Assembly, a word is enough for the wise. Let's not jump on Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much, Ada from Jos. Well, again, we come back to the studio and put this across and say, how can the states now begin to make an impact in all these efforts that we've talked about here? Especially with the area of IGR. A lot of Nigerians have spoken out against this system where periodically, every month, everyone gathers in Abuja to share. And everything stops while the sharing is going on. Even when the sharing is delayed, it's as if life comes to a standstill in every part. All right.
Thank you very much. I would like to talk about the human capital development first before responding to this question. You see, I will advocate a total change of our curriculum from primary school to the university. Now, our current curriculum cannot produce graduates that can compete in international labor market. I, as an individual, I can say that there are things I learned that is only now that the reality of what I studied then, I can behold it. Because it is practically theoretical. You are talking of an export to somebody who doesn't even know what it is. So people grow up learning, cramming, and giving back to the teacher. And so when you give them responsibility related to their studies, they can't. And so most mechanical engineers from Nigeria, can they repair vehicle? No. So there is a need for a total change. Now, for the states and the IGR issue, it's not the lack of devolution of power that has led to the poor performance of most governors. It's not.
Okay.
Because there's nothing in our law stopping states from doing business.
Okay, we'll ask you to just pause a while. We'll return to it. Okay. We'll keep that point and we'll return. But let's just quickly take this call from Birnin Kebi. Umar Anache calling in. I suppose a regular caller on this program. Hello, Umar. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
And the discussion there, they did a very wonderful job. And to my own mind, to me, as my own opinion, it all depends on the people. the people were the ones that had to be governed. The way they should be governed would determine the behavior of the governors. Generally, the people fail to ask the right question at the right time. And this what gives governors a kind of power to think that, yes, they are the small gods. If people ask him the right question, he will not behave the same way that he is going to behave. Let me give you an instance. For example, now as it is, to transfer the governor of my state to Lagos State, to govern Lagos State, he will not behave the same way that he will behave if he is to govern Kebbi State. That is to tell you that people of Lagos State ask him the right questions, while people from Kebbi State did not ask him the right questions. So it is obvious that the people of Kebbi State and the governor of Kebbi State behave in the same way he is behaving because of the people of Kebbi State behave in the same way they are behaving. Rightly, let me tell you an example, Ciro. There is time that the governor of Kebbi State, His Excellency, previous governor of Kebbi State, His Excellency Atiku Bagudu, he participated in one of the programs, Anko Borua program, for example. I called and pinned the governor and said that, look, this is not the right way to go about Anko Borua program. I'm the only one that called from Kebbi State and say that. Has it been that there are many people that call and tell governor what I told him, he will not behave the same way that he is behaving. May God continue to bless our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, we'll come back to you. You, just before we took that call, you were making the point that there's nothing that stops the states from doing business.
Yes. Today, every state has the right to do business. If you have an oil well in your state, the state can register a company,
Investment card,
and apply, get the oil well, and then prospect.
Yeah, but in all of this, perhaps when we come to Professor Kenny Fiutel, but in all of this, you tell us all the time that governments have no business in business.
No, I'm coming. You know, like when I was deputy governor, I was in charge of PPP.
I'm chairman of PPP in Enugu State.
So, then in PPP,
TCPC.
You can look for an investor, partner with the investor, provide set land, security, and some percentage of the money required. And the man manages it, and the income comes to the state government, and you can, a state that has maybe 39 minerals, like Kogi, and if you go into partnership, and you are doing business, and with these 39 people, Kogi people who need to come to the federal government to look for allocation. It is because most governors don't want to lay the foundation for tomorrow. Even where foundations were laid before they came, they destroyed it. So where is the tomorrow? So governors can states can go into business and sustain themselves, not with much money, but just the vision.
Okay.
The vision, the political will to turn situation around. That's all that is required.
All right. We have another caller. This is also Umar, but this Umar is from Kano. Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Ideas
Yes, are you with us? Go ahead, you're on.
So, yeah, I've been speaking. So like I said, Nigeria is not built of ideas. We have ideas, we have wonderful people that come up with the ideas, but unfortunately, the right people who will implement those decisions are not in the right place. Over the last years that we have had democracy, how many governors have we had? Out of these governors, you can hardly find 5 to 10% of them that have no cases against them. And most of them are either in the National Assembly or in corridors of power. And those are the people that we expect to implement the decisions that most of our elites come up with. It's not going to work. Like Honorable Farooq Ali said, it's our responsibility. And unfortunately, we don't come together and make sure that people in position of leadership are held to account. We don't do that. And so long as we don't do that, we keep electing. If they force themselves into those positions, we allow them to stay there. There is no way we can get this country out of the situation we're in now. I'm not trying to defend this government, but I know for sure that whatever this government is trying to do is a damage control. Is trying to right the wrongs that happened over the last couple of years. And there's no magic wand. There's no magic wand. We have to hold everybody, especially the state government, because when I look at people always talking about the federal government, I ask them, I say, why do you concentrate on the federal government? What do you want the federal government to do? At the state level, at the local government level? I mean, we are just not serious. I think we really have to sit off, and if we want this country to work, all of us, like Honorable Farooq Ali said, all of us must be responsible and must hold people responsible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Prof.
Yeah, I just want to make a suggestion. Let us cut this chase about state police or no state police. Simply declare state of emergency on security for 1 year. Just 1 year as an experiment. Now, we have 10,000 wards in the country. Let us employ 20 young people in each ward. That's 200,000 people. They will give us a more effective coverage of the wards. And then if the governors are buying cars for police and all that they are buying for them, if they can't afford to buy pump action for these people, let us raise money for a security fund. We'll contribute to buy pump action, and they will be ready, they should be domiciled with the police, and they will go and have serial number. And these people, 20, will go and collect them from the police, so that after 1 year, you collect them back after trying this experiment. And then if you need to suspend a section of the law in that gives you that coverage, fine. You don't have to create the state police today. Let's do 1 year experiment. And they tell me if this thing will persist after 1 year. Because of the balance of force.
Yes.
And then if you have 20 people carrying pump action in a ward, the kidnappers will think twice. Because by the time they kill 3, one of them will go down. You know? This thing is not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's just balance of force.
Dr. Abayomi, how may the states, the subnationals, and the local governments begin to put in just a little bit extra above the average that have always been assigned to them to grow these ideals that we've talked about here tonight?
I also think part of their responsibility is to come up with ideas to resolve the problems and the challenges of Nigeria. I mean, in my view, it doesn't stand to reason that all they do is to come to Abuja to collect money, which they misuse and mismanage, which they turn to security votes to protect themselves instead of protecting the people. They should also come with ideas and that will help this nation. That's why elected. But I want to also talk about the issue of state police. It's only one of the issues that our nation faces. Of all the federal systems of government, all the countries that have federal systems of government, I think it's only Nigeria that has only one single structure, police structure, as far as I know. Only Nigeria has only one single police structure controlling security throughout the nation. And Nigeria is a very large nation. I live in a rural part of Ondo State, deep in Akoko, and the command for security will be from Abuja. Apart from that, for God's sake, how do I expect somebody that is coming from Lokoja, that is a police in Okeagbe, my hometown, to go into the bush to take a risk in the bush to protect the people against marauders? It's not going to work. But if my people are there and he knows that these are my people, obviously it will make a difference. So it's just a matter of common thinking that there is a need to have multiple security challenge, including security that is resident within the community. In any case, we have a situation now where virtually every state, Zamfara just established a sort of a security structure. Many other states are doing it. So do the federal government or the National Assembly want them to do it illegally or unconstitutionally? At the end of it all, every state will attempt to protect its citizens in one way or the other. The issue, however, is that if you want security, in my view, you should allow the people to protect. You cannot say a governor is the chief security, is like a prophet without without a prophecy, so to say. You cannot call them chief security without equipment to secure the people. The point I'm making is that the structure that we have now makes the state governments and the state political leaders irresponsible. Therefore, like my colleague said, we need to have a conversation about Nigeria. What do we want Nigeria to be? A great nation, a nation that has such great possibility is collapsing. And it is not just sufficient for the National Assembly to preoccupy itself with buying cars or protecting itself or giving itself allowance during holidays. They are elected to find solutions to the problem of Nigeria, and they need to do that.
All right, Dr. Amaewa, thank you so much. And we are in the closing minutes of this program now. And so let's start with you, Honorable Farouk Aliyu Adam. And yes, we spent time identifying the issues here, what needs to be done. In the interim, as they always say, there's the first few steps you must take towards achieving anything before you look at the medium term and the long term. What must the country and its various administrative levels, from the federal, the center, to the sub-nationals, and then right down to the local, what must we begin to do now to work towards turning the situation around?
We come back to oath of office and oath of allegiance. If all elected persons will abide by their oath of office and oath of allegiance, probably will be good. When you swear, with either Bible or Quran to protect and defend the Constitution as presently constituted, if each and every one of those in authority who hold this power in trust on our behalf, if they will do the needful, if they will have empathy in such that let Mr. President know, let him know that, look, somewhere in Kebbi or in Bayelsa, someone has not eaten today. because of policies of either federal or state, that's why things are so difficult. But then Umar from Kano said he will not speak for the government. I will speak for the government. Now, I want the Nigerian public to know that President Ashwaju Tinubu removed subsidy, but he didn't do it alone. He didn't do it alone. The people need to know that the governors of the states, all of them, without exception, agreed that subsidy must go. So if today the governors of Nigeria, who are members of the National Economic Council, go to Mr. President that, look, you must take back subsidy to the people, that will be done. So let the people know. Now I'm speaking for Tinubu, that Tinubu did not withdraw the subsidy on his own. The governors made sure he did. So now, which means, first things first, do we, as people of this country, think subsidy removal is good or bad? The governors are certainly smiling to the banks. They are enjoying it. They have 45% more in revenue. But whether it is showing, it's on the ground, that's another thing. So first things first. Now, subsidy, which is the main topic, everybody is saying subsidy, subsidy. Okay, Tinubu didn't remove subsidy. He, as the head of the government, actualized it. Now, if Nigerians want subsidy to come back, talk to your governors. Let them come back to the Economic Council and tell Mr. President, look, subsidy has to be back. So Tinubu did not remove subsidy.
All right, Elder Simon Achuba.
Yes, my closing remark will be a general call for repentance within the leadership, political leadership of Nigeria. We have all been so corrupted. Our mindsets for seeking political office is to get there and enrich ourselves to the disadvantage of the populace. So I think that call for repentance, the president, the vice president, the governors, their deputies, the National Assembly, and all political office holders should please have mercy on Nigerians. Think twice and do that which is right. And that can be done when the president starts to take certain steps. You may have been called whatever name before, but your action today can make people have a change of mind. Because to be a president of a nation like Nigeria is not just to be president so that your name will be there for a lifetime. No. Because we have problems facing us now. If certain steps are not taken to console the anger of Nigerians, the way we are with all the hunger that is underway, I pray that we do not degenerate into a circumstance where everything will go out of control. God forbid. We are at the verge of a fall. And the president should get up and sit up and do that which is right to save the nation. Everything stops on his table as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Whether decisions were taken rightly or not, it is his body. And so let him stand up, take a stand, and be an example in leadership.
Okay.
Now, this is one of it. Electoral reforms. You see, there is not a nation that throws up rogues to the corridor of power and expect a change. When on the seat, the man that is seated there is a rogue. No. But if the electoral process is cleaned up and we have men who have the law for the nation at the corridor of power, these things we are talking will be resolved within a time. But how can you resolve an issue when you have rogues occupying all the places? When you bring ideas that are brilliant, that can move the nation forward, when the money comes, they pocket it. And they go free with it. Nothing happens to them. You take them to court, you stay with them in court for 20 years while they enjoy the loot that they have made. These things have to stop. And that is why I'm calling for repentance and for the president to stand up and carry on with a good political will to bring about a change in Nigeria. Thank you.
Professor Kenife, if, as Elder Simon Achuba says, the buck stops on the president's table, what is the role of those who also constitute the leadership at the states and the local governments? What should they do to complement that role, and how should they key into actualizing those good ideas that he says should generate from the center?
It takes two to tango. I think they have to work together because because economic development is on the concurrent list. If you issue license to somebody to come and mine, the government won't let them mine until they satisfy the environmental considerations and this and that. Otherwise, you can carry your license into the mine it, but they won't let you drive out with the thing. So they are both connected. Do you understand? One owns the things under the land, one owns the things up on top of the land. So how are you going to work with that? They have to work together without a doubt. But both of their action should be targeted on enabling the private sector to perform, to work with them. Because you cannot be expecting private sector to bring 85% of the funding for development and you are clinging to 15. And then you want them to do what? You don't want to provide a secure environment for them to operate. And then you don't give them that enabling. They're not saying emasculate the work. No, let them work with you because they can bring speed, expertise, all kinds of things to make these things realizable very, very quickly. You've got to provide them with an enabling environment. You have to provide security that they are prepared to even pay for and contribute to. I think we have our job cut out for us. We just have to work together. And every level of government has clear roles to play. And we know that federal, yes, has a strategic role for strategic direction, a lot of externalities. But when you come to domestic economy, you cannot walk away without the state playing a very, very significant role. For the start, they muzzled the local government. So you have to untangle. But we will get there. We will get there. But we have to continuously look at value addition because when you solve the insecurity problem, the next thing is what you are producing. How do you add value to it so that you are in control of your destiny? At the moment, we are not. We are not. And the experiences of the Francophone countries tell us that there is cause to worry because for them it got up to here that they are now blowing hot air and coup after coup and all that. But we won't come to that. But the signature is on the wall.
Right. Dr. Bayomi, if you cannot influence what's happening at the center, how well can you do with those things that are under your control at the subnational level? And that's been the whole essence of this discussion from the start of this program. How well are those in charge at the subnational levels doing? If they say there's so much, and as in your own words you say, to whom much is given, much is expected. Well, at the level of the subnationals, much is also given to the leadership. So the people there can also expect much of them.
The people who've spoken so much about the leaders in our country, we need to also have very serious conversation amongst ourselves as the peoples of Nigeria. Because many times the neurosis forced on ourselves by our inaction or wrong action is also the source of the problems of Nigeria. If we cannot vote unless we are given some stupid money, you will not get appropriate leadership, for sure. You cannot expect to sow a corn and expect to reap a groundnut. You will only reap what you sow. So, as we are talking about the leadership, the people themselves must be conscious of their responsibility to produce the ideals of government over themselves. The second point I want to make is that now today we are talking of depreciation of currency. If we realize that 500, not less than 500 industries have died in this nation in the last 30 years, not less than 500 major industries, what do we expect? These industries died because of policy and because of corruption, mainly corruption. When industries are coming into our nation and the leaders, our government are demanding money or they are delaying it because they want to be paid, etc., and so on and so forth, or they are asking for money as conditions for to put people, right people in position, our nation cannot grow. The other issue is that we cannot have a situation where government is living very well, comfortably, and laughing when the people are weeping. 60% of the expenditure in managing government should be taken away and be used for the people. In this nation today, a whole lot of our wealth is committed to managing government. Government that is supposed to work for us is working for itself with our money. If you have a situation where, for example, a governor takes almost $1 million per month for the purposes of security and is using it to building houses all over the place, and there's no control, where do we go? How is the nation going to, where are you going to have the money to build roads or develop health or improve in education or curriculum, as my colleague has said? So the people need to wake up to hold government responsible. So these are the issues that I believe confront our nation.
Right, thank you very much, and that's where we must leave it. And Dr. Tunji Abayomi, constitutional lawyer, thanks so much for joining us from our Lagos Network Center. Thank you for being part of this program. Thank you. All right, back here, let's also say a very big thank you to Honorable Farouk Aliyu at Abuja. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
And then to Elder Simon Achuba, former Deputy Governor of Kogi State and former Deputy Speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly, thank you for being here. Thank you. Professor Ken Ife, it's always a delight to have you join us on these conversations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you too for being part of tonight's program. Next week we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.